Good morning. So we'll move on to a new lesson. That is the sixth poem from the same textbook, Flamingo. The title of the poem is Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. So as usual, before we move on to the actual poem, we will do a quick pre-reading. We'll use the same technique. Okay. So now we are surveying the title and the poet. The title is Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. That is the title of the poem. So what does the title remind you of? Does the title remind you of anything that you might have read in your junior classes? Okay, so if you think back into your junior classes, many of you might remember a prose lesson, a story, short story by Saki. Do you remember the title of that story? The title of that story is Mrs. Packletide's Tiger, right? So I hope many of you remember that in your lesson from class 10. You have done that in class 10, Mrs. Packletide's Tiger, written by Saki. Okay, so tiger seems to be an animal that had so much attraction for the writers. Many writers have written on or about tiger, and like those writers here, Adrian Rich has also written a short poem on tiger, and the title is Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. Okay, yeah. Now, next question that might come into your mind is her theme different from Saki's story? Again, it is important for us to think back into a class 10 lesson, Mrs. Packletide's Tiger, and try to remember the theme of that story. In that story, Saki has satirized the flaws of human society, like jealousy, vanity, and pride. So that is what he talks about in that story. So do you think the theme is different from Saki's story, the theme in this poem? So again, that reminds us of the importance of knowing the themes of these literary works by different people. Okay, another question that might come from reading the title is, what are the constraints experienced by women in their lives? Sorry, this question comes from what we have here in this part, which is about the poet. So if we read a little bit about the poet, which is given in your textbook, it says, Adrian Rich was born in Baltimore, Maryland, USA. So she is an American writer. She is widely known for her involvement in contemporary women's movement as a poet and theorist. Okay, she has published 19 volumes of poetry, 3 collections of essays, and other writings. Now, the next important thing: a strong resistance to racism and militarism echoes through her work. The poem Aunt Jennifer's Tigers address the constraints of married life a woman experiences. So this part is important for us to keep in mind, pay attention to, because this will again lead us to the better understanding of the poem. Okay, so the poem here in this part, it says the poem Aunt Jennifer's Tigers addresses the constraints of married life a woman experiences. So from this part, we have that question. What are the constraints experienced by married women in their life? Constraints means restrictions, problems, troubles. Okay, so these questions will lead us to the better understanding of our poem. Okay, so this is a quick pre-reading, and we will do a bit about the poet herself to understand her work more or better. Okay, so poem outline, the outline of the poem. So before we do the outline of the poem, let us know a little bit about the writer. So Adrienne Rich was born in Baltimore, Maryland, USA, as it is written in your textbook. She is widely known for her active involvement in the feminist movement. Okay, as we said, she is a social activist. Okay, and her movement is mainly on feminism. In her poem *And Jennifer's Tigers*, she addresses the issues of male dominance. Okay, the poem brings out the struggles and conflicts a woman has to go through in male chauvinistic society. Chauvinistic. What does chauvinistic mean? To understand this adjective, it is important for us to understand the noun, chauvinism. Chauvinism means extreme or prejudiced support of one's ideas, cause, groups, or sex. So here, male chauvinistic society means society in which the men, have a very excessive and prejudiced idea about their own sex. Okay, so Aunt Jennifer, the protagonist, is symbolic of all women all over the world who are victims of oppression at the hands of the patriarchal system. Again, patriarchal means the male. Okay, coming from patra, which means father, okay, coming from the male. So here, what she talks about is that all the women all over the world are victims of oppressions at the hands of a male-dominant society. And the main character in this poem, that is Aunt Jennifer, is symbolic. That it means she is used as a symbol. So she has used a symbolism where Aunt Jennifer symbolizes women all over the world who are victims of oppression at the hands of a patriarchal system, not just the husbands, even the fathers, because this is in a way autobiographical, because she also had to suffer influences from her father regarding her writing. So she is talking about that male dominance. Thus, the poem illustrates rich feminism or feministic movement. Okay, so the whole poem now illustrates the poet's feministic movement. As we said, she is working for a movement on feminism. Okay, so now let us move on to the main point, the first stanza. The first stanza describes Aunt Jennifer's tigers. So in the first stanza, she describes Aunt Jennifer's tigers. How? So if we look at the stanza, Aunt Jennifer's tiger springs across a screen, bright topaz denizens of a world of green. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. They pace in sleek chivalric certainty. So this is the first stanza. And if you look at the stanza, one thing that you will notice is that it is written in a highly structured form. So what do we mean by highly structured form? That means she has used regular rhyme scheme. Okay, that is also important for you to know. It is written in a quatrain. Again, what does a quatrain mean? You might remember doing it in class 10. Quatrain means a poem or a stanza with 4 lines. A stanza having 4 lines like this is called a quatrain. So it is written in 3 quatrains, okay, and all the couplets rhyme with each other. Again, couplet means a stanza with 2 lines. So one stanza, one quatrain would have 2 couplets. Okay, so here we have 2 couplets, and the first 2 couplets rhyme with each other, and the next 2 lines rhyme with each other. So the rhyming scheme, again, sometimes in the question, in the examinations, questions will be asked for you to give the rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme here for this stanza is A, and B. Okay, screen and green rhyme with each other. So they are written as A, and tree and certain T. These 2 rhyme with each other. So the rhyme scheme for this stanza is A and B. So that makes it a highly structured poem, unlike the previous poem that we have read. Okay. So as I said, in this first stanza, she describes Aunt Jennifer's tigers. Okay. So it is described how? By using very vibrant imagery. Again, imagery is a figure of speech or literary device where there is a use of words which create images in our mind. Okay, so as soon as we read the stanzas, we get the pictures of what she is trying to say. That is an image. Okay, the poem opens with vibrant imagery describing the tigers pictured in Aunt Jennifer's craft work. Okay, so here, like Mrs. Speckletide's tiger, where she wishes to kill a tiger, as opposed to that, here in Aunt Jennifer's tigers, the tigers mentioned in this poem are not real. There are imagery tigers. There are tigers which are formed in Mrs. Jennifer or Aunt Jennifer's minds. Okay, Aunt Jennifer's craft work. Okay, the reference to a screen in line number 1 signals to the reader that these tigers are part of a tapestry or a canvas. So that means the aunt is embroidering the tigers on a canvas or a tapestry. Okay, some people even say she was knitting, but she actually was embroidering. Okay, a picture of a tiger on a piece of cloth, and that is described in a very vibrant way with lots of imagery. So how do Aunt Jennifer's tigers look? So this is an embroidery, okay, work, craft work. Her craft work is embroidery. These tigers have been made by Aunt Jennifer on the tapestry, okay. So she is embroidering them on a piece of cloth, maybe a piece of a handkerchief or a wall hanging, something like that. She is embroidering on these this piece of cloth. So these tigers represent her desire. She pines for the qualities she has endowed to these tigers. So why does she make a picture of a tiger on her canvas? This is again important. So tigers represent, again, tiger is used as a symbolism. Okay, it symbolizes her desires, Aunt Jennifer's desires. And what is her desire? She desires for the qualities that she has given to these tigers. Okay, so that means the tiger is again symbolic of 2 things. First, here as it is given in the first stanza, her desires. And what are her desires? All the qualities that are given to the tiger. Okay, so the figure of speech used here is symbolism. Okay, first we are talking about the embroidery, her craft work, her art. Embroidery as a symbol of creative expression. The art expresses Aunt Jennifer's suppressed desires and becomes her escape from the oppressive reality of her life. So what is the reality of her life? It is completely victimized, oppressive. She is completely oppressed by the male dominance of her husband. Okay, so that has been expressed through her art. And again, art is used as a symbol of expression, where a person is able to express his or her inner thoughts, like Aunt Jennifer. Okay, so she has chosen the picture of a tiger to express her hidden desires. Okay, so Aunt Jennifer's tiger springs across a screen. Screen here means canvas or a piece of cloth. This indicates that the tiger is not real. It is an artwork of Aunt Jennifer. Now, how do the tigers look like? They are bright topaz denizens of a world of green. Though unreal, they are described as bright, crystalline. Crystalline means shiny animals that prance. Prance means jump. Okay, they are not idly walking or trotting. They are jumping. Okay, that pranks around the world of green. World of green here refers to the forest in which they live. Okay, so this is the kind of artwork that Aunt Jennifer has made. Again, important for us to remember is the figure of speech or the literary device used here is a metaphor. She has used a metaphor. The tigers have been compared to topaz, which is a shiny golden yellow gem like this. So there is a comparison between the tiger and a topaz because both have similar color and both are bright. So how does she say that? Bright topaz denizens of a world of green. That is a metaphor. Okay, the tiger has been compared to a topaz, which is a precious stone or a gem of a yellow color. Now, why does she compare the tiger with a gem or a precious stone? Okay, the word used to describe the tigers establishes them as bold and confident. Okay, so that is important. She uses or she compares the tiger to a gem because it adds value to the tiger. Okay, the tiger is established as bold, confident, ferocious maybe also. Okay, so associating the tigers with a glittering precious stone gives them value. Okay, as I said, the tiger may also symbolize the males who think that they are more valuable, more stronger than the women. Okay, the use of the word pranks then suggests a light-hearted, proud, springing action. Okay, it shows the pride of the male dominance, like the tiger walks very elegantly and proudly and jumps. The wildcats don't simply walk. Okay, they stride proudly and with confidence. So the word pranks shows that the tiger is very proud and confident. Okay, and they walk with so much pride and confidence and also elegance. That is why she has used the word pranks instead of walk. Okay, the vivid means clear imagery continues as the topaz tigers are set against a color contrasting backdrop. Okay, so as it is given here in the picture, the topaz-like tiger is set in the background of green forest. So why does he use the background as green forest? Again, this color suggests a natural setting, such as forest which the tigers are denizens of. Denizens means inhabitants. That means the permanent residents of forest. Again, it creates a kind of, you can say, sense of belongingness. The tigers belong there in the forest, and so because of that, they are secure, proud, and confident, as contrast to the woman in human society, who is symbolized by our Aunt Jennifer. Okay, so the use of consonants with the Z sound. Okay, Z sounds in the phrase topaz and denizens emphasizes this sense of belonging, asserting the animals as permanent residents in the world of green. Okay, again, there is a use of consonantal sound, Z sound. Okay, topaz, denizens. Why does he use these two words one after the other? Because he wants to emphasize the sense of belongingness. The sense of belongingness that the tiger feels in the forest. He feels that he is secure and safe, and he belongs to that world of green, the forest. So because of that, he is very proud and confident. Okay, and the next couplet says, they do not fear the man beneath the tree, they pace in sleek chivalric certainty. Okay, so the tigers are very brave and they do not even fear the man sitting under the tree. Again, this shows the fearlessness of the tigers. Okay, so they pace. Again, she has used the word pace. Pace means walk with grace. Okay, instead of walk, she has used pace, again showing the grace of the tigers in sleek chivalric certainty. Chivalry is associated with knights of the medieval period, and so it is a quality that is associated with these knights. And with full of respect, high respect, especially for the weaker section like women. So in a way, this is a bit ironic because they are talked of as chivalric, but they are dominant and they oppress the women. Okay, they pace in sleek chivalric certainty. Again, she has used the word certainty to show that the tigers are very certain about their position in the society. They are, as I said, secure, safe, and very proud, as opposed to how women feel in society, as represented by our Aunt Jennifer. Okay, so the tigers are described as fearless. How do we know that they are fearless? Because they do not fear the man standing under the tree. Okay, these tigers move about with grace, elegance, and confidence. Pace shows that the tigers are moving with grace, elegance, and confidence because they are full of sense of security. They feel very secure and unharmed, oppressed, as opposed to the women. So because of that, they move very gracefully. They are not in a haste. If you feel agitated, if you feel frightened, then you will run away. But here, they are not running away. They are walking very gracefully and elegantly and confidently, showing that they feel very safe and secure in their world of the green, that is the forest. So that is what she says. She is saying the male in human society feel the same because they are the oppressors. They are not the victims. These majestic and fearless tigers also present a sharp contrast to Aunt Jennifer herself, who is bound by the constraints of married life. So this is important from the thematic point of view. So we are coming to the theme of the point. So this is completely contrast to how Aunt Jennifer feels in the society. Okay? She feels highly victimized, oppressed, subjected to constraints and troubles in life. So because of that, she is also very timid and fearful. Okay? Okay, the figure of speech used again is symbolism. The poem itself is a symbolism. So because of that, we will be using symbolism now and then. So Aunt Jennifer here symbolizes a typical victim of male oppression in an unhappy marriage, who suffers a loss of individuality, dignity, and personal freedom silently. She becomes dependent, fearful, and frail. As I said, if we are fearful of something, if we fear something, if we are frightened of something, then we become frail and dependent. So Aunt Jennifer is symbolic of the women who suffer oppression in marriage and also suffers the loss of individuality. So if we talk about individuality, when a woman marries, the first thing that she loses is her own name, because her name gets changed to that of her husband. And in that way, she loses her individuality after the marriage. And in certain cases, or many cases, they also lose their dignity because they are oppressed and treated as inferior in their married life. And so because of that, they also lose their freedom and they suffer silently without any objection. Okay, the second symbolism is the tiger. As I said, the tigers symbolize untamed, free spirit. They symbolize her dreams and desires of being powerful, fearless, decisive, and liberated. Okay, so these are the desires, the hidden desires within Aunt Jennifer. She also wishes to have all these qualities of the tiger, which she does not enjoy in her life. As I said before, another symbolism of the tiger is the male dominance. The tiger might symbolize the male dominance, male oppression. Okay, now we'll move on to the second stanza. The second stanza describes Aunt Jennifer's fears and burdens, that is the constraints in her married life. Okay, so as we said, it is important for us to know what are the constraints, the problems, sufferings that she has in her married life. That is given in the second stanza or in the next quatrain. Okay, so the next quatrain again is a structured quatrain. As we said again, she has used rhyme scheme. Wool and pool rhyme with each other. Okay, band and hand rhyme with each other. So the couplets rhyme with each other. Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through her wool find even the ivory needle hard to pull. The massive weight of Uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hands. Okay, so now what do you understand from this? Okay, Rich has very clearly given the constraints that Aunt Jennifer is suffering in her life due to the oppressions from her husband. Okay, so Aunt Jennifer is creating a beautiful image of the tigers using a wool or a thread, a piece of thread. Okay, so as we said, she is weaving a tapestry. She is embroidering a beautiful picture of a tiger using thread. Okay, but how? Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering. Fluttering means trembling, shaking. Her hands are shaking, her fingers are trembling. But she finds it difficult to pull even the ivory needle. Ivory is the task of an elephant. So here the needle is very small and it's not very heavy, it's very light actually, but when she pulls the needle, she finds it very difficult. Why? Her fingers are not steady, her fingers are shaky, they are trembling. So because of that, she finds it difficult to pull the light needles through the cloth. Why? Why are her fingers fluttering? Okay, because she is so terrorized and tortured that she is unable to carry the weight of the wool. Okay, so it is not actually the weight of the wool or the thread. Actually, it is the weight or burden of the married life, the constraints of her married life that weighs heavily on her mind. So because of that, she is mentally feeling very weak, and that is translated into her physical activities. When she pulls the needle, her fingers are fluttering. So the fluttering of her fingers indicate the kind of mental torture that she is suffering in her married life. Her fingers are shaking or trembling as she pulls the wool. Okay? And next, the massive weight of Uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. So what is a wedding band? Okay? Wedding band is the wedding ring that a husband gives to a woman, okay, puts on his wife's finger. So how does it appear on Aunt Jennifer's finger? It appears very heavy. It has a massive weight. Do you actually think the wedding band is heavy? No, it's just a small piece of jewelry. It's not heavy. But still, the poet says it weighs very heavily on her finger. Again, what does that mean? Again, that means she is burdened by the constraints of oppressions of a married life. Okay? The uncle's wedding band appears heavy on her hand because of the mental weight, mental torture, mental oppression that she is facing under her husband. It is suggestive, okay? It suggests that she feels burdened with her marital responsibilities and constraints, okay? Responsibilities and constraints. Okay, so again, the marriage band is symbolic. It is used as a symbolism. We will talk about that here in the figure of speech. The wedding band again is used as a symbol or as a symbolism, a symbol of oppression in an unhappy marriage. Its weight refers to the burden of gender expectations. Okay, so again, as I said, the wedding band is used as a symbol showing the kind of oppression that a woman suffers in her married life. Okay, it weighs heavy means the burden is very, very much on the minds of a woman. Okay, through the poem, the poet wants to convey the fact that a woman throughout her lifetime works to glorify the tiger, that is her husband, but she feels so much subjugated that the marital bond becomes a burden on her life or her, on her life, in her life actually. Okay, so this is again very important from the thematic point of view. So we are talking about the theme. So throughout the poem, the poet wants to convey the fact that a woman throughout her lifetime works to glorify the tiger. So actually it is the woman herself who is letting these men dominate her. She tries to glorify the tiger, and the tiger is symbolic of her husband, and she very silently and very submissively, without any resistance, suffers all these oppressions. That is what she, Rich, wants to say. And because of that, she is suffering all these burdens in her life. This is also the reality of Aunt Jennifer's life. This has become her reality, like it is reality for many women all over the world who are facing oppression at the hands of their husbands. Okay, the last quatrain, third stanza, reveals a sad truth. What is that? That sad truth again is given in this quatrain. Again, we have the same rhyme scheme: lie and buy, made and afraid. 8. Okay, when Aunt Jennifer is dead, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with orders she was mastered by. The tigers in the panel that she made will go on prancing, proud and unafraid. Again, the poet has used a poetic device, that is repetition, pranks. Okay? Okay, so what is she saying in this last stanza? Okay, as we said, here she reveals the sad truth. And what is that truth? The poet says that even death will not be able to release Aunt Jennifer from the trauma she had to undergo during her lifetime. So that is the sad truth. Even after death, Aunt Jennifer will not be released from the oppression, the marital constraints that she had suffered during her lifetime, because she will be buried with the ring around her finger, again, which indicates that she will go to her grave with the burdens of life. The death will not be able to relieve her from these constraints. She will go to her grave with the constraints that she had suffered in her life. Her life will be a story of her ordeals. Ordeals means difficulties, problems that she had faced. Okay, and the oppressions that she was subjected to. Even after she dies, the story of the problems, constraints that she had faced in her life will remain, and it will go to her grave. However, the tigers created by her will be eternal. Okay? As contrast to that, still the tigers that she had created will remain forever. They will always remain proud, elegant, and full of energy. Okay? Again, the irony is that this dominance is created by Aunt Jennifer herself. She has given all these qualities to the tiger. Like in the real life, women let the men subjugate themselves, victimize themselves, and because of that, the males or the men enjoy all the security, freedom, and dominance in their lives. So what is the poet saying here? They will always be proud and unafraid. Okay? So still, even after her death, the tigers will still remain as proud and unafraid. Like the picture that she had made on the tapestry. Okay? Perhaps the poet wants to say that the women themselves are creating these tigers, like Aunt Jennifer has created the tigers on the tapestry. Okay? So in a way, the women are responsible for their own. That is again a sad truth, sad fact. The women themselves are responsible for all the constraints in their life, because they are very timidly, submissively hiding their constraints and problems, and they go under the victimization of their husbands. Okay, so because of that, the women themselves are responsible. They are very submissive, and they never try to resist what is being done to them. And what is being done to them is wrong, and they have the full right to resist them. But still, they are very submissive and accept very silently, and silently suffer. So women are in a way responsible for their own status in the society. That is what the poet wants to say. So she is trying to give us an advice to the women, okay? And what is that advice? They need to break their shackles and be unafraid like the tigers aunt has created. So aunt has all these thoughts in her mind and created these beautiful pictures of the tigers. Okay, so what the poet wants to say is the women need to break that shackle. Shackle means chains of fright, and resist against the injustice being done to them. One more thing that can be inferred from the poem is that Aunt Jennifer, who has borne the miseries she was subjected to, now longs for freedom from dominance and male chauvinism. As I said, another thing that the poet wants to say is maybe she wants to say that Aunt Jennifer now wants to fight for her rights and freedom. And she wants to fight against this dominance and male chauvinism and try to gain her rightful status in the society. Okay, so that is the end of the poem. But before we wind up, let us look at the figures of speech. Ringed with order, okay, means encircled. So even after death, her fingers will remain encircled with the band, encircled or trapped, losing individuality and freedom, burdened with the constraints of marriage. Okay, so that is very ironical also. The aunt, okay, not Aunt Jennifer. In the last quatrain or the stanza, the poet has used aunt instead of Aunt Jennifer. Okay, again, that is symbolic. The use of the word aunt as opposed to Aunt Jennifer shows that she has lost her identity completely, thus lost even her name. As I said, after the marriage, the woman loses her identity. She even loses her mind and, name, not mine. She loses her name, and her name gets changed to her husband's. That is being shown here. She loses her own identity. So it is written aunt instead of Aunt Jennifer. It is very symbolic. Okay. Another figure of speech used is synecdoche. Synecdoche is a figure of speech in which a part is used to represent the whole, or a whole is used to represent the part. You might have remembered doing this in class 10 when we did Ozymandias. Okay, we talked about the hand that mocked. Right, the hand that mocked. Actually, the hand represents the whole artist. In the same way, here also she has to use a synecdoche. Okay, and what is that? Fingers. Terrified fingers represent the whole of Aunt Jennifer. Okay, it doesn't mean that only her fingers are frightened. Okay, what the poet is saying is the whole of herself. The aunt herself is afraid of her husband and all the males in her family. So the terrified fingers represent the fear of Aunt Jennifer or all other women like her. Okay, so at the end we have this writing activity which you should do to give your learning better. Thank you.